And what you thought about the themes that were coming out of the speakers today.
Actually, I'm quite interested in the region itself. We currently do not have that much business over here, but we had a very good relation with Links here. The name was mentioned a couple of times, and we saw that they're quite busy, also in Western Europe and Eastern Europe. So that's why I personally was very interested what's going on in this region, and listening to the panel session was quite interesting.
Yes.
That obviously there's much more business than I thought. Now we are definitely serious looking into this market. Because as already mentioned in the panel session, one of the panel sessions, there's a lot of demand from Western Europe to Eastern Europe and back, Germany to Poland to Bulgaria, and we see the same patterns.
Okay. As far as actual countries within the CEE, you mentioned that there was a concentration of where the activity was, and you felt that there were some areas and some countries where there was a potential for growth and some untapped activity.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would specifically, if I were an operator, I would start looking a little bit about down to the Adriatic region, where you do have a lot of traffic. It is seasonal, yes, but you have traffic, and you have very, very, very little aircraft based down there. Then you have areas where there's more supply, and the supply and demand is basically on par. Another area is probably the Riga market, which is Riga-Moscow is the most frequented route here in the CEE, both going from Riga to Moscow and Moscow to Riga.
Yeah, we've seen over the last 3 years, probably during the recession, the level of flights coming in from our bases in the UK and Paris has been the same. But in the last 9 months, the flights into the CEE countries has equalled what we've done in the previous year. So that basically is a 25% increase. Having said that, of all the countries involved, there are only really 4 countries where 70% of our flights come into at the same time. I can see once the recession finishes that we will see this region, the economic region, being vastly more important. For example, we have the CIS region as well where we fly more into, and also nearby Germany has higher volumes. But I think over the next probably 5-10 years we'll actually see the CEE countries being quite an important centre, and they will, I think, increase materially.
And what are the three? You mentioned 3 key destinations. What are they?
It's Poland, Czech Republic and Montenegro.
Okay, and you mentioned the use of social networking, and obviously CEPA Expo had its own social networking tool in the CEPENJA facility, which enabled delegates to tweet their thoughts and questions during the panels and the speeches. Do you think that was a useful addition to the conference?
I think that was a fantastic tool, actually, the enabling of the audience to interact with the panel without interrupting their speeches and publishing questions. I think really added a lot to the whole interaction between the audience and the panel. In fact, I would even suggest that they make that tool available to the public and maybe, publish it online and let everybody enjoy it.
Excellent. Would you like to just give us a few thoughts on what you think about the past year and also how this year's CEPA Expo has gone?
Sure, yeah. The last year's been a huge learning curve for me. Whilst I had a few contacts out in Eastern Europe, and I knew Dagmar before she invited me to become the chairman, the year has been one of huge learning. And we've been to some interesting events. We went and attended the Economic Forum in Krynica in Poland, which was very interesting. We're looking at the infrastructure of Eastern Europe. It's a pretty immature market for business aviation. There's a lot of work to be done, and I've met a lot of people now who are going to be involved in doing that building.
And for me, CEPA was actually quite important. So I had obviously cancelled my original flight. Then I had to get a new flight out, and I arrived quite late last night at 10 o'clock at night, because that's something that is worthwhile attending, because it's a very good networking platform for people. And I also think it's quite good for manufacturers because they are currently 90 units aircraft in the region, and that is going to go up.
Yes, we had a lot of very famous sponsors this year, so people do believe in this idea. I think in year 3 we achieved a big success, and I'm happy about that. Even standstill is an illusion, so I'm continuing to develop, and I think in 2013 it will be a bigger show then.
That's great. Thank you, Dagmar.
Thank you.